Hey, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
welcome to our virtual town hall. You know, it's nice to see all of your faces on that screen. Of course, something's happening here. Oh, I see a slide coming up. You know, with vaccinations, pretty soon we'll be able to gather in person. Don't we all look forward to that?
Oh, yes.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Well, today we're going to talk about past year. We'll review the past year, and then we'll kind of talk about some of the things that will be coming up. But the village teams really had a successful year, and they came up with some very creative alternatives to our normal routine, and they managed this course of twists and turns this year very well. They did a great job. But you know, that's nothing new. People, we could go to the next slide. People have been doing a great job here since 2013. That's when Hugh Kelleher and David Ross had a vision of a village. They gathered a group of Newburyporters, and those folks were Jack Cranberg, Fred and Stephanie Huffnagel, Doug Bolick, and a real Newburyport person was me. And we were the founders of the village, and we established the nonprofit entity that you know today. Okay, we could move to the next slide. The next slide, what happened then was we created a group of folks who were the village builders. And they researched villages all around the country to see if we could find a model that would fit here in Newburyport. And I think they did quite a good job. And the folks who were doing that, again, there are a lot of familiar names on there, but, you know, Kitty Krejci, Kate Murray, Carol Bishop, Ellen Chulak, Bill and Bernie Jaros, and Tom Lorcas. And then there were a couple on that list who have kind of fallen off the charts here, and we probably should revisit and see if we get them back involved. We could go to the next slide. Now this slide, you know, I don't want to burden anybody with a lot of numbers, but here you go. We've created a village that is on pretty solid ground. We now have 111 members, and we seem to be getting new members every time we have a board meeting recently. We've been coming up with new members, so it's moving along nicely. But the village, of course, is a business. That's why I'm showing you all these numbers, just so that you understand that. So that we need to work on an annual budget, and it's essential for us to be able to meet our essential expenses, things like the post office box and insurance and all those types of things. And we also have to have money to provide valuable experiences for folks in the village. Through the generosity of donors, we have a fund that we are able to keep up for the purpose of our membership assistance program. We've also been able to create a fund that ensures our long-time sustainability. So we're in pretty good shape. And if anybody really is interested in seeing these numbers, just get a hold of me and I'll give you a way that you can get them and see what's going on. But we're in quite good shape. Next slide. So how does the village keep going? Well, it's your board of directors. And they are the folks that you see here. And I turned the page too soon here. Sorry about that. Okay, and these are the folks who keep the village going. Of course, it's Linda Bogdanoff, it's Liddy D. Hollander, Lois Asher, Bill Jaros, Donna and Bill Franz, and of course myself. And those folks are going to be giving you will be speaking to you today. And while they're speaking to you, the other member, Kitty Krejci, is going to be listening and taking notes, because she will take your ideas and we'll make sure that we include them in our strategic plan going forward. What we're going to ask today is that as we go through, just listen to the presentation. And at the end, we're going to have I'm going to ask you for some volunteer things. We'll announce the winner of our virtual door prize. And then what we'll do is we're going to follow up at the end with opening it up for questions and recommendations. So just hang tight, let us do our presentations, and at the end, we're going to make an announcement for the winner of the door prize, which will be a gift certificate which will adequately cover dinner for two at a restaurant in Newburyport or any local restaurant of your choice. So stick around to the end because that's a pretty good gift. So we're ready now to go into the presentation. So if our group from Member Care is ready, they're going to be up next, and you'll hear from me later.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Lois Asher, and with Leedy DeHollander, we run Member Care, but we couldn't do it without the members that you see up here, Bill and Donna Franz, Elizabeth DeGrenier, Jeanette Isabella, and Pauline Derby. And probably the thing that we're best known for right now are the gift bags, which we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. So welcome to Member Care. Okay, Leedy.
Yeah. So in March, Lois and I took over Member Care from Bill France, and we had some big shoes to fill. Size 14, right, Bill? And new member intake, orientation, paperwork, and data entry is part of Member Care. And 2 weeks later, we had to pivot to Zoom. So a lot of new things to learn, and I did a lot of hair pulling, as you can see right here. Next slide. So we started with, because we could no longer have in-person get-togethers, we decided to support the local community and our members with certificates to local restaurant. After that, we decided to develop some gift bags. We first did the Christmas gift bags that you all may remember. And after that, Paul thought it was a good idea to also do anniversary gift bags, which we did, which was kind of a struggle for me because I had to do 88 bags of chocolates. So that was just hard. Next.
Okay, so one of the other things we started this year was the Villager Share, and you see that coming up on a regular basis in our weekly reminder that Donna does for us so well. We, as the sign says, we donate, or you can donate, lend, or borrow. Some of the items that we've gotten are for the kitchen. The cake pan, the bundt cake pan here, for the mind, books, and I'm not really willing to give him away, but if there's anything you can think of for the soul, besides my cat Sekhmet, that would be something that people might like to share as well. Leedy?
Yeah. So early 2020, Member Care came up with the idea to develop a village cookbooks. Members are encouraged, and volunteers are encouraged to submit recipes. Every month we raffle off a gift, and so far we've had, the first winner was Susan Ricker with her chicken with shallots. The second winner was Mary Herlihy with a recipe of Italian sausage and zucchini soup, and today Jean Aiken was picked with a crab cake recipe. So please keep sending those recipes for us for this fun project. It's not going to be this year, but maybe next year it will be finished. So keep them coming. Your turn. Thank you. Next.
Okay. The other thing we did this year, because we were meeting not in person and on Zoom, we did 2 sets of outreach calls, and I think some of you might remember that. Calling members. And the other thing that we set up was a chat room that we did through the winter and a little bit of the fall. We've suspended it for the summer and the spring because people can get outside and more people are vaccinated and more people can meet one another in person, at least outside, if not inside. But if there seems to be a need for it, we're perfectly willing to bring that chat room back next winter, although I think we'll be looking for suggestions. on what you might like to see there if we did have a chat room. So Leedy?
So member recognition. Important life passages. I'll send cards, flowers, book certificates. So if you hear of anybody in the village who is not well, is in the hospital, is having a major life event, something like a wedding anniversary, please let me know. Let me know, or the concierge, because I've got to know about it if I want to do something. Thank you. Next.
So I simply want to thank Leedy because she doesn't take enough credit for what she does. And not only does she do member outreach, but as she pointed out, besides the chocolates, which I wish I'd had some of to eat as well, except the ones that came in my bag, Leedy put the gift bags together pretty much by herself. Member Care worked on what was going to go into them. Member Care helped along with other people to deliver them. But because of our inability to gather together inside, the job fell to Leedy to put all the gift bags together. I know a lot of people loved the gift bags, and if you did, say a thank you to Leedy in one form or another, because she certainly deserves it.
Thank you, Lois.
No, thank you. So we're looking forward to starting some things again. And one of the things that we've already started again is the walking group when it stops raining on Thursdays. It meets Thursdays at 4 o'clock. And we're interested in getting suggestions for new interest groups. And if you have a suggestion for an interest group that could meet maybe outside now, but later on inside, contact the village concierge. The number's on the screen. You'll probably see it in other places today as well. I belong to the walking group. I love the walking group. There's something, I walk every day pretty much, but there's something lovely about walking with a group of people, and often the same group of people that you talk to, although you don't always walk next to the same person. So if you're interested, that's available as well. The other things that are going to start up, we're hoping that you see in front of you on the screen, 2 images. The one on the top left, afternoon tea, especially for new members, you may not be aware of this, but we honored our 90-plus-year-old members a couple of years ago with a tea, which was actually held at my house, and listened to their stories because they were fascinating of who they are. And we want to do the 80-year-olds. And I hope that we get to do the 80-year-olds before I turn 80, but who knows at the rate things are going with the pandemic. When we can, we will. We have some new members with us today, and we have new members joining. We always have a new member orientation. This one was at Paul's house, and we look forward to being able to have a new member orientation in the very near future. So again, Member Care is interested in taking care of the needs of our members. That's what we do. That's what we've been doing. And I'm going to turn you over to P&E now, Program and Events. Are you there, Linda?
Yeah, next
okay.
slide, please.
Sorry.
This next slide, please.
Oh, okay, sorry.
There we go. Oh, okay. I think we skipped one. Anyway, thank you all for coming. It's wonderful to have you and welcome new members. I'm Linda Bogdanoff, and I chair the P&E team. Needless to say, 2020 has been a really interesting year. And when I look back on it, I can't help but think of the Grateful Dead song, which many of you must know, Truckin'. What a long, strange trip it's been. But fortunately, there's good news on the horizon and things are looking up. Next slide, please. I want to start off by introducing this wonderful team of women that have gone above and beyond over the last year. Jennifer Attenborough on the left Ellie Bailey, Joyce Chaka, Susan Coolidge, Sue Minot, and Annette Keene. And if you don't yet know them, I hope you'll have an opportunity to meet them all soon. Next, please. Although we share everything, we all back each other up, we all have areas of focus. And I thought I would go through this list to let you know who's responsible for what. Jennifer Attenborough used to put together our dinners, but over the last year plus, she has been the person behind happy hour every Friday night at 5 o'clock. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't yet tried it, please do. I think you'll really enjoy yourself. Ellie Bailey has come up with a tremendous number of activities and continues to. And she is also the person that takes all of the links and talks and all the information that we share with you on the Tuesday update and puts it into beautiful form and passes it on so that you get it in your email every Tuesday. Joyce Chaka coordinates our village talks. Susan Coolidge also helps out with activities and is our Zoom host. Annette Keene helps us distribute information. And Sue Minot is our YouTube hunter and is constantly coming up with great YouTubes. I want to give special thanks to both Mary Olson and Ellen Chulak, who were members of the team, but when the pandemic started, they moved home with family, Mary Olson to England and Ellen Chulak to Florida. So importantly, Donna Franz and Ann Barrett Speck, who are the people behind the Tuesday update, who take all the information we send, add their own, put it in great form, and make it possible for us to get this out to you every day. Chris Morton has kept us healthy with chair yoga every Tuesday since the pandemic started. And a number of our members, Lois Asher, Paula Wright, Bill Franz, I really want to thank you because they have stepped up and given great village talks. I think Lois has given over 8 talks in 2020. Paula has also done a few, and Bill Franz recently did a great talk on Dickens. Next slide, please. So to review 2020, the year started off business as usual. We had a dinner at Sea Level. We had lunch at Crown and Jewel. We had a great 4th anniversary party at Michael's, which I think many of you attended. We continued our Wisdom Circle meetings. We had a couple of village talks, and we even went candlepin bowling. Next, please. And then March 15th, everything was canceled. So after we caught our breath and walked around the house for a couple of hours, we learned about Zoom. And what a wonderful thing that was. That basically gave our team the ability to communicate with each other and figure out what we were going to do. So we found toilet papers, we found hand sanitizers, and we discovered YouTube and Zoom, as I mentioned, and the Tuesday update was born. So we were back in business. Next slide, please. I'd now like to turn it over to Joyce Chaka, who will review the list of things that we were able to do between the beginning of April and December. Joyce?
Okay. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, starting off with in 2020, we had 35 of the Friday happy hours. Sometimes people were having a cup of tea and some were having a glass of wine. Jennifer Attenborough and Mary Olson were hosts, and the picture on the right, the array on the right, was the last happy hour that Mary Olson attended before she moved to England. But the happy hours continue 5 o'clock every Friday night. 8 wisdom circles. Again, these were started the previous year and came out of the Aging to Saging workshops, and a core group wanted to continue with those. So in 2020, there were 8 wisdom circles. There were 31 chair yoga classes led by the wonderful Chris Morton, marvelous instructor. And this was another chance for social interaction also. And then our Tuesday update links. We had 211 links in 2020. These were YouTube's, TED Talks, music, art, documentaries. Some were whimsical, some were serious, some were inspiring, and many, many were very amazing. And then we continued again with our village talks via Zoom. And we had, oops, wait, no, yeah, okay, I've got it. 16 village talks. As Linda mentioned, some of these were by our own members, and we want to encourage more villagers to take part in the village talks, not only as audience, but as presenting. And so if you have something to share, whether it's a travel experience or a special interest, whatever it is, let us know your ideas. And if you haven't joined in on some of these activities, then please try them out. Next.
Thanks, Joyce. So what's up next? Where are we going? We're moving ahead with event planning with your health and safety in mind. This is our, this is our main focus. And when the time is right, we really look forward to returning to our dinners, our lobster bakes, our museum tours, boat rides, all the various things that we were able to do prior to the pandemic. But fear not, we're starting out with some outdoor activities, and we've got some nature walks planned for spring and summer. So stay tuned, check the Tuesday update, and we'll keep you posted. Again, thanks for coming, and we look forward to seeing you all soon. Next.
Hi, everybody. Good to see everybody this afternoon. My name is Bill Jaros, and along with Sue Hammond, we make up the concierge team of 2 people. And what our job is basically to listen to our members. If they have a request, then we field the request. We go out and we look for a volunteer that can satisfy that request. And once we do that, we get the volunteer in contact with the member so that they are able to work out the details. And a lot of times that's rides, exactly, when are you going to pick me up and where are you going and stuff like that. So they work out the details between themselves, and basically our job is over at that point. But so for the members to, as a reminder, you can get in touch with us either calling the village number or sending us an email. Now you're probably wondering how COVID affected us. So next slide, please. So before COVID, and I'm looking at, say, January and February 2020, we were doing about 35 services per month. Most of those were trips, some household help, and errands for picking up prescriptions and groceries and that sort of thing. Now, once COVID struck in mid-March of last year, up until now, we only do an average of maybe 3 or 4 services per month. And we try to keep those limited to safety type issues, like putting in a new battery for smoke detector, or putting in an AC in the window for one of the members. So we've done a few errands during that, but absolutely we did no trips. It was just not possible to do that under the CDC, what was happening with the CDC guidelines. So so we have a bunch of volunteers that haven't been doing that much work during the past 14 months, but they do help the village out in other ways. Next chart, please. As Leedy already mentioned, we distributed all of those anniversary gifts, which were available, available at Leedy's house. So on that delivery day, we had about 8 volunteers who went to Leedy's house, picked up the gifts. they got a map from Liddy and also a list of members. So each one then went off on their own route and delivered all those gifts. As you can see, we have a few people in Salisbury. We have, I don't know if it's maybe 7 or 8 people in Amesbury, a few people in West Newbury, and then down on the bottom, Newbury, people are pretty much scattered out and even onto Plum Island. But most of the members are centered in the Newburyport area. But the different colors represent different routes that different volunteers had to follow. Now we do have an important announcement to make today. I don't think the word has gotten out yet, but we have an important announcement. So next slide, please. And that is services are back. As of tomorrow, we are going to continue all services as we did before, but we will also have some guidelines as far as the CDC guidelines go. So there will be some restrictions on how we do things, but pretty much we're going to start services up tomorrow. It's been a while, so let me just go back over some of those services just to remind the members what we have to offer. Next slide, please. So as far as
Abby.
Who's at the door?
I don't know. Abby.
as far as services go, we obviously have the rides we talked about. But also we give rides to village events. Obviously, we're not doing that now, but we hope that that will start up pretty soon. Some household helping items we're ready to do. And then some of the maintenance things like replace light bulbs and install and remove window air conditioners, things to that nature. And obviously errands where we pick up prescriptions and groceries, pretty much whatever a member needs. A special note here is, excuse me, when I was talking to Paul about starting the rides up again, it was kind of embarrassing because our president wanted the first ride. So I thought that was kind of unusual. And he says, well, yeah, he says, let's do the ride. This was yesterday. He says, I'd like to go down into town and go to my favorite coffee shop. So after some hemming and hawing, I said, okay, Paul, I'll pick you up. Next slide, please. So there we are on State Street, taking a ride over to Paul's favorite coffee shop. And just a note, Paul didn't help at all, but picking up poop from a pony is a lot worse than picking up dog poop. But anyway, let's go to the last slide, please. So in closing, I just wanted to make sure you know that we will be following CDC guidelines. And at this time, we expect all members and volunteers to wear masks at all times, especially while indoors and certainly in a car. And just as a reminder to our members, you can get in touch with Sue or myself by calling the village number or sending us an email, and that works too. Next, that's the end. Next.
Yep.
Hello, everybody. This is Bill Frams, and I serve as the team head for marketing and communications. And our mission is to spread the word about the Greater Newburyport Village, and then to encourage people to join up either as a member or as a volunteer. Next slide, please. So here's our team. Tom Lockus has served as our principal writer and our editor, and he's helped us with writing and getting articles published in various venues, and is the person who gets the monthly newsletter out. which goes not only to our members, but to 450 people who are on our mailing list. Barbara Dowd is our photographer and helped to populate the photo album with some great shots. The photo album is available on the front page of our website, and it's a terrific way of showing all of our villagers enjoying themselves. It's open to the public so that, it helps to spread the word about who we are as a group of fun-loving people who enjoy each other's company. I'd like to also mention that for several years, Barbara was a member of the member care team, and she represented the village at health fairs, various events, member recruitment, member orientation. So Kate Derrick and Chris Joblon have helped me this year put together a 3-year marketing plan, which will help to spread the word about the village and help us in our growth throughout our entire service area. Now, many of these activities are awaiting the time when we can get together in groups. And I'd also like to mention that Kate preceded me as the Director of Marketing and previously served on the Strategic Planning Committee. And then there's Mike Prendergast. Mike is a professional graphic artist. And Mike is the person who designed the village logo, the brochure that we use to publicize the village and to help spread the word about who we are. He's the person who really created the look and the feel of the village that we use on our stationery, our newsletters. And anytime we need to make an adjustment, Mike is happy to do it. He's our go-to guy for that type of work. Next slide, please. So we have 3 major goals, and our primary goal is to grow the village in a way that's sustainable. And the board thinks that this is about 10% growth in our population per year. And we've done a very good job of hitting our targets right up until the pandemic. And then our growth really did come to a halt. And our efforts were to work in tandem with program and events and member care to really work on retention, which has been really superb. Our members have stayed with us, and for this, we're enormously grateful. The second and the third goal are really quite similar. We want people in our service area to know who we are. We want not only just regular citizens of of our service area, but we want the business and the service and the civic community to know us as well. And we have some activities that we can speak to a little bit later on as to how we're going to do that. Next slide, please. So what have our activities been since the pandemic? Well, we have had a couple of articles published in the Daily News about the village. One of them about how in March, we rapidly pivoted to use Zoom to institute villager to villager phone calls, to check in with each other, to combat isolation, to make sure that people were doing okay. And the second article was about our gift bags and how we're reaching out to support our restaurants who needed the help to stay in business. And so it was a terrific win-win, helping restaurants and reaching out to our member base. We've had articles about our 5-year anniversary in the Council on Aging newsletters in all of our communities. We've done introductory letters. Each of you received a wonderful gift of a calendar with Paul's artwork. And we did introductory letters about the village and calendar gifts to the area mayors, to the churches, to the Council on Aging directors, Newburyport select persons, Newburyport Chamber of Commerce, to get that word out, let them know who we are, what we're doing, how we adapted during the pandemic, and our mission of serving people as they want to age and stay in place in the homes and communities they love. So next slide, please. What do we have for upcoming projects? Well, I mentioned a couple right here. The Newburyport Council on Aging has instituted Zoom Community Day presentations in which various city organizations and businesses are invited to speak about who they are, what it is that they do, what their upcoming plans are. Paul and I will be presenting June 2nd at 1 o'clock. And what you have to do in order to get an invitation is actually contact the Council on Aging, ask them to include you. They will send you a link, and then you can connect to hear what we're about. The second is the Village Rail Trail Garden. We've highlighted this in the last 2 newsletters. A quick update, we have petitioned the Parks Department so that we could beautify a section of the rail trail, and then obviously we can put up a sign indicating brought to you by Greater Newburyport Village. We have selected a spot that's right opposite this osprey sculpture, and you can see a picture of the 2 park benches here and a forlorn little grass plot. And that is what we're hoping to beautify. Now, there's been some paperwork we've had to submit. We have to go to the Parks Commission for a Zoom meeting on May 20th, present the plans in order to get approval. So far, everything looks pretty good. So let's hope that this will be approved and we'll be able to begin work shortly after May 20th. This spot gets lots and lots of traffic. So next slide, please. And we have our 3-year plan. A lot of it is certainly still on hold, but we're looking forward to attendance at local fairs and local events when allowed. We can set up a table and put up a little signs and brochures and chat with anybody who comes by about the village. And I have one more slide. This next one here. This August will mark 5 years of successive monthly newsletters. And so that'll be our 5th anniversary of getting the Voice of the Village newsletter out to you and to everybody on our mailing list. And I want to give many, many thanks to Tom Lockus, who's our editor and produces this newsletter. No matter where he is in his travels throughout the United States or even abroad, he has reached back out and we've gotten this newsletter out, and shortly it'll be 60 successive and successful issues. Many thanks to Tom and to all those who've contributed ideas and articles to the newsletter. And that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Donna Franz, and I am the person who manages the website. And I hope this looks familiar to you. I hope you visit the website. Basically, this is a support position in which all of the teams give me information, help me review the website on a yearly basis, making sure everything is updated. It's a little tricky if you always have to type in that address, or what's called a URL, www.greaternewburyportvillage.org every time you want to visit it. So if you don't know how to bookmark it or make it a favorite so that you can just in one click get to that page, let us know. We'll help you do that. When you do visit the website, it would be good if you took a look at the menu bar, which is circled here. It has all the information that you'd need to know and want to know about the village. This is the public facing page, and we'll also talk about the member portal as well. But I'm hoping that you all, visit this page and that you recognize it. Next slide. What does this team do? We do the web pages, which I already explained. We do the Tuesday updates. We get the information from programs and events and other teams within the board, and keep you updated on a weekly basis since COVID. So many of us have talked about that so far. We also do other member communications. You recently got one about, checking in with us, filling out a quick little survey to make sure your information is updated so that we can respond appropriately, that we have access to your information. So regular communications, Tuesday updates, web pages, and in the background, this team does documentation in support of the board and the working teams that comprise the board. So to update our policies and procedures, to make sure we're all on the same page and following things correctly. So that's basically what this team does. Next slide. When you look at the homepage, there is on the menu bar a section called About Us. And if you click on the down arrow, you see many, many pages. And if you haven't visited them, they're worth a look. If you ever wondered, oh, who are the board of directors? It's in there. Who are the village builders? It's in there. If you wanted to revisit an old edition of the newsletter, they're all in there since 2016. So all of those pages have information. What have we added since COVID? We've added 2 new pages. One is a page that holds the last 5 of the village updates. So if you happen to, trash one, put it in your trash, delete it, and you say, gee, I wanted to look at something, or I want to be reminded of a date, you can go right to this area. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th one down from the About Us menu, and you can go visit one of the last 5 updates. The other webpage that we created specifically for this time of social distancing, isolation, COVID environment is the resources for this time of social distancing. And what we've done there is put in links. The page is just chock full of links to all of the things that have been put in the Tuesday Village update. The fun links, the educational links, and a lot of other links are on this page too. Places where you can get food, restaurants that are still open and have takeout, all of that stuff is in there. Next page, please. The other web page that we support is the private member portal, which you can get to from the public page. You've probably all been there, but this is a reminder because we haven't gone there much during the COVID time because we're not registering events, we're not having that type of event. So this is just a reminder that in the upper right-hand corner of the homepage, you click on what's called member login. You have to know your username and password to get in, which is tedious. But anyway, you type in your username and your password. And if you get tired of doing that, take time to look below where you enter your username and your password and click in that little box that says, remember me on this computer. What that will do is the next time you want to go to the member portal and you click up there in the right-hand corner, member login, you're going to automatically go in. So you don't have to keep doing that tedious procedure of entering your username and password. I wouldn't recommend this if it was your bank account, but I think it's perfectly safe to do it for the member portal. If you need help with understanding this, you know our number. Next slide, please. So why go into the member portal? Just a refresher, since we haven't been using it much past year, hoping we'll use it lots in the future. One click. Next click. Under member services, you see a different menu here than you do on the public facing page. Here you have a page called member services, which just explains it. You can request a service here. If you are on the web and you say, oh, I think I'll request my service here rather than call in, you can do that. And also we have the vendor list in case you need somebody that's recommended by another member so that you can have a little faith in this vendor. So that's a good use for this member portal. This is only available if you're logged in. Next click. The member directory has been improved. The software that holds it has been improved, and we have these enlarged pictures of members. If you wanted to call somebody and another member and you didn't know their number, and if they're willing to share it, it's here. So that's a good resource. If you've met a new member and you can't quite remember what they look like, it's great to have their pictures here. So you say, oh yeah, now I remember I met that person. Next click. The event calendar is something that you can see on the public website, but if you have a member-only event, you're going to have to log in to register for it. So you go to the event calendar, you go to the event, you open up the event, and if you're logged in, you will see that register now button so that you can register. And one more click on this page, shared interests. Now that we're able to get together, if you were interested in something, for example, going to a library presentation or an art show or whatever, and you said, gee, I'd like to invite somebody to go with me, you can find out what other member interests are by going to this page. You just click on the down arrow next to arts and crafts, and you're going to see all those people that are interested in that area, and you can give them a call because you know how to look up their number in the member directory. So that's just a refresher on things that we hope you're going to use more in the future now that things are starting to open up. Next page. Here's our calendar. Now you can see this, as I said, in the public view. You also see it when you log in. One more click, you see all of the things that we've been doing through the time of COVID. The only thing that's new there is that we've restarted the walking group. So these are the things that we've been doing. In if you're ever concerned about, oh, when is that talk, when is that meeting, where is the happy hour taking place, here you get it. And one more click, we're hoping to fill up this calendar with a lot more events in the future, the things that we had before we had to be isolated. Last page. So who's this team? There we are. Myself and Ann Verrett-Speck has recently joined, and she's a great help with the Tuesday updates, putting all the links in, and also updating the resources webpage. And it's been a great help to me because I'd love to develop even a bigger team so that somebody could say own the calendar and somebody else could own updating the homepage and somebody else could work on the update each week. So we'd love to have more help, but we'll leave it at that. It was great talking to you. And now we're going to go back to Paul in the next section. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm back. But this time I'm going to tell you that we're going to talk about volunteering. We're lucky because we have just a terrific cadre of good neighbor volunteers. And we encourage anybody who would like to be part of that group to get a hold of Bill, and I'm sure he'll be able to get you on board. Those are the folks, obviously, who go out and change light bulbs. But we have another group of volunteers, and we like to call them village builders. And folks that are on that group, folks like me, and people that are on the board, and all the folks that you just listened to, and the members of those various teams. So one of my questions is as you listen to that, were you inspired to join any of them? Because if you are, they'd be happy to have you come on board. Can we go to the next slide, please? All right. Now, some pockets on this builder's apron have greater needs than others. Our concierge, which is the most important day-to-day operation that we have, believe it or not, I think Bill has already told you, there were only two people there. It's Bill and Sue Hanna. So the question is, have you got some time, maybe a few hours a week, where you might be able to answer phone calls from members and then follow up to schedule a volunteer to take care of their needs? So that's something that we would really, really appreciate it if you could do it. The other thing is maybe you could help with supporting our volunteers. Maybe you could get involved with helping to bring volunteers on board and work with them to go through the manual and do some training with them. We also like to do some appreciation for the volunteers. Maybe you're somebody who would like to plan some of those kind of events. So if that's something you think you'd like to do, then you ought to give us a call and let us know. Next slide. Okay, now you look at this slide. Now this is the one you just listened to. That's Donna. Here we go again. We've only got two folks that manage all of that work. And I'm telling you, it's a big job. Do you have those kind of skills? Are you an IT kind of a person? Do you like to do that? We all know the importance of website, and you need to keep the website active. You need to keep it interesting and attractive. And most of all, you have to keep it current. So it's something that you have to visit week in and week out so that it's relevant. So do you have the time to help out with that? Maybe you're somebody who likes to do data entry. There's not a lot of us who like to do that, but it's a necessary job. We just recently had a thing where we asked everybody to update their information. So now somebody has to go into the website, go through the vendors, the members, and update their critical information. So if you're somebody who would be willing to take the time to give us a hand doing that, that would be great. If you're creative nature and you'd like to help out the Tuesday update, I think that's been a big success. And I think that the board is going to consider continuing that even through and after the COVID is done and we're all vaccinated. So if you have the technical skills to help out the IT team, you ought to just give us a call and we'll take care of that. So I'm going to give you the phone number. I'm going to say it slowly so you can write it down. I want to see people picking up pencils down. The number is 978-206-1821. So if you didn't get it, it's 978-206-1821. Next slide. This is my area. We have a really hard-working board, and we're always interested in looking at possibilities of is there somebody out there who has the experience and some expertise that they might bring to the board that would give the board some additional value. So if anybody has got that kind of interest and they'd like to come and serve on the board, give us a call and we'll talk to you about what your skills are and what our skills that we're looking for are. Currently, one of the things that we would like to do is Mary Olson used to be our clerk, and she used to keep track of the minutes of our meetings, and she was skilled with shorthand, and she could really do a heck of a job in the notes. So right now we would like to find somebody who could serve as a clerk on the board, which would include doing the notes. There are some other minor responsibilities that is a corporate situation that the clerk gets involved with, which is to sign some reports and that we do to the state for our nonprofit and our corporate thing each year. That's something that a certified public accountant does it, sends it to us, we look at it, verify it, sign it, and then we mail it into the state. So it's a pretty simple thing that we do. The other issue that we would like to address is that we now have a treasurer, and what we'd like to do is to have a co-treasurer. So somebody who could come on. Currently, I'm the treasurer. As a matter of fact, I happen to be the clerk at the moment too, because I do the notes and I also do the treasurer. But we would like to get somebody to come on and learn how we go through the process. And we do have a bookkeeper who does works with QuickBooks, does all the checks, keeps all the bookkeeping that's necessary for our state filings and our tax filings. She works with our certified public accountant who does our tax filing. So the treasurer's job is basically to review the monthly statements of our monthly expenses and the monthly checkbook statements, and then apply it to our budget so that we can track the budget. So it's a really simple job, but you have to be somebody who likes to work with figures and like that. And you want to know something about Excel and things like that, but be willing to work with anybody who might be interested in jumping on board in that case. So I think that wraps up pretty much what I would be looking for. But now I'm going to give you a bit of a test. Does everybody remember the number that you need to call? Oh my gosh, it looks like you don't. Okay, it's 978-206-1821. I think we could put that to a little tune. Let's try it. 978-206-1821. So here's the next thing. This is the most important thing that we came for today, because what we are going to do, ordinarily, if I were to suggest that we were going to send somebody to dinner, we would pick a restaurant and by God, you'd have to go there. And I had suggested that we might consider the Pizza Hut or something like that, but these folks kind of thought we would leave it to you. So I remember seeing that in Vermont, that at a town fair or a county fair, they would set a cow loose into a field. And you could pick a square on that field. And if the cow with the brown spots did a cow flap in your square, you would win the prize. Now, I don't remember what they call that, but nevertheless, because we have all these squares, we have done a similar thing. So the person who is in charge of the pasture is Donna France. So Donna, can you make the announcement of the lucky winner of dinner for two?
I do. I picked, well, the squares have moved, but I picked it at a certain time, and the winner is Joyce Mrazek.
Joyce, you have won dinner for two at any restaurant, local restaurant. So Joyce, you want to tell us where you want to go? Or do you
But let's unmute her, Joyce. Hold on.
Okay.
Unmute yourself, Joyce.
Oh, where is she?
She's right here.
I know.
She's working on it.
Let me see.
Hi.
Hi, Joyce.
Hey, Joyce.
Congratulations.
You got me?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
we've
can
got
hear
you.
you.
Hi. You got it?
Yeah.
You can talk, Joyce. You can talk right now. We can hear you.
I think
She's
I think she's frozen.
I think she may be frozen. All right. So what we're going to do is that we will get in touch with her and find out where she'd like to go. So if she doesn't get back to me, I'll just get her something, maybe at Dunkin' Donuts. But anyway, it's, so now I'm looking at a whole great group of folks, and now it's time. You know, I thought that was a great presentation. Did it in exactly 1 hour. But what we'd like to do is see if you guys have any questions. So if you do, should we unmute people or just ask them to raise their hand? Who's in charge?
I
Raise
just
your hand
asked
if you
them to unmute.
I would unmute, yeah.
I have a question.
Okay, got a question. Okay, Florence.
I was on the team to drive people, and do we need to sign up again, or we'll just assume that the people who are driving will continue to do that.
Bill,
Yeah, we will, we're not going to create a new list. We're going to assume that the drivers that we've had before are the drivers we have now, but we can always use more drivers. So if somebody would like to, be a volunteer in that regard, then please let me know by calling the village number. And Paul made us make sure that everybody knew what that was.
Thank you.
anybody else have anything to say? I've got a couple of texts to folks who have said they've enjoyed the presentation.
Yes, thank you. It's been helpful.
Well done. Thank you.
Yes, it was
Thank
very
you,
well
Paul.
done.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you
So-
very much.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
everyone.
Thank you.
Are
Thank
we
you.
ready for Netflix? That's what I wonder. Now, I do believe that if this wasn't painful enough for you, you can visit the website, and this has been recorded. And we may do a little editing, but you could visit it in the website. Folks who have missed it, that will be available for you in the website.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul, I'd just like to say something. I only started helping Donna in the new year, and I have been astonished to find out how much work is going on by this very small group of people who have been doing so much for us. Thank you all so much, and I do hope more people can volunteer in some way, because it's just amazing what you've all been doing.
And it's wonderful that you have joined, Anne.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anne.
Okay, so in closing, what do you think I'm gonna give you in closing?
The phone number.
Phone number.
Phone number.
No, no.
Shall I sing it? 978-206-1821. And that is also the number you call if you need any help from us. So please do not be bashful. Call if you need anything, because we're open for business. So all the best to you, and stay safe. Stay masked. Oh, are you waving goodbye, Donna?